Adam here from the Walzer Automotive Group, and what I want to do today is compare a couple of mid-sized trucks. So on the one side we have the Chevrolet Colorado, and on the other side I have the GMC Canyon. So we'll look at a few differences with the trim levels, look at the interiors, the exteriors, and see which one might just be perfect for you. Let's start by looking at the exterior on the Colorado. Now this is the ZR2 crew cab, and this is going to be the top of the line when we're looking at the Colorado pickup. Now what's cool about this one is there's a lot of great off-road equipment, so if you're planning on doing any off-roading, if you're doing camping, maybe out fishing, this is going to be the perfect rig for you. Now let's start up front where we have our LED headlights. This one does come standard with those red recovery hooks up front, and you are adding a under skid plate on this one to protect the front of the vehicle. Now I love that this has the flow tie, so it's the open bow tie, so it does get a little bit of air flowing into the engine bay. Now let's talk about the specs of the engine. Now all these Colorados are going to come with the 2.7 liter Turbo Max. It's going to be very similar to the one found in the Sierra or in the Silverado 1500. So it gives you plenty of power, and towing capacity at its max rating is going to be 7,700 pounds when properly equipped. The AT4X and the ZR2 do drop that a little bit just because of the lift and the bigger tires. Now speaking of that lift, this gets the full Multimatic suspension. So you'll notice it does sit up a little bit higher than the Canyon over there, but it is very, very capable off-road, especially with these Goodyear Wrangler tires. Now, speaking of these tires, these are a 285/70/17, so it is quite a large tire, so it will cut your fuel economy a little bit compared to the standard Colorado, but what you're gaining in off-road capability definitely helps out. Now this one also is equipped with the off-road drive shaft, as a few other packages as well, but let's hop in the back, we'll look at the bed area. What's cool on both of these models is it does have the soft open tailgate here, and this one you also will have a ruler on the back if you're measuring fish or on the job site, and if you slide these little hooks on here, you're actually going to have another storage or cooler area, which is very convenient out of the tailgate. Now this ZR2 is going to come with the full spray and bed liner. There's lots of tow hooks in here as well. You also have the outlet in the back, so like I said, camping, job site, that is very usable, and it's also got the LED lights back here. So this one also will have a sliding window in the back, as does the Canyon as well, and this one will come equipped with rock sliders on the side of the vehicle, so you're not going to have the standard running boards, but it's just going to give you a little bit of side protection, and you're going to have a little bit different rear bumper that's also going to have parking sensors. But let's close this up, we'll hop over and look at the Canyon. Now looking at the exterior, this is the 24 Canyon AT4 crew cab. So this one is going to be a little bit different, but obviously you're going to notice a lot of similarities between the two. So we didn't want to do the AT4X because that would be very similar to the ZR2 model, but the AT4 is still very off-road capable. So looking at the wheel and tire setup, this is a 275/65/18, and this one will have the same 2.7 liter Turbo Max, which is going to be paired to that 8-speed automatic transmission. Now this one you would go from a 17 mpg on the highway up to 20, even with the larger tires, and if you don't choose the off-road package and you get a little bit smaller wheel and tire, the fuel economy would go up from there. Now up front, that's where you'll notice a big difference with the Canyon and the Colorado, is the style of the grille is a little bit different, and the LED headlights, you kind of keep that standard GMC Sierra look of those C-shaped LED beams that run up and down. It does look really cool up front. As well, you do lose that aluminum skid plate, but you keep the recovery hooks up front. Now along the side, both models will have keyless entry, so you just tap the button to open the door handle, and they also will come with a remote start on the key fob. Let's hop in the back, we'll look at the truck bed on the Canyon model. Now coming back to the Canyon here, this one will have the soft open tailgate, and as well this one does get the multi-stow. So same thing, you can unlock it, you've got the little cooler or storage area in here, and this one does kind of have that rubberized coating, and you do keep the ruler on the back. And one other thing that's pretty cool on both models is there's kind of like a little mountainscape in here, kind of one of those goofy things, but it does look really cool. Now this would be your standard bed. This one doesn't have the spray and liner or any silicone, so if you want, you can obviously add something in there, but you do keep the plug-in as well as all the tie downs in the back of this truck. This one also has that sliding rear window, and for the most part, they are going to be very similar, just depending on your trim level or what you're looking at. But one big difference here on the rear bumpers, so if we close the tailgate, you'll notice you keep the cargo step in the back here, so it does make it a little bit easier to access stuff in the back of the vehicle. But let's hop inside the Colorado, we'll check out the interior. All right, so now inside the ZR2, like I said, we've got the keyless entry on the outside, and then you've just got the push button start here. Now what's great, there's lots of phone storage. You've got a little space here, you've got one up above with kind of this digi camo look, and then we've got some USB charging up here so you can keep your phone charged when you're on the go. Now I paired my phone in earlier, so I had Apple CarPlay, which is wireless. You can also use Android Auto, and there's a ton of really cool stuff in this infotainment screen. There's also Google Assistant in here. So earlier I asked it to set the vehicle to 68 degrees. Without taking my focus off the road ahead, it goes and does that for you. There is also Amazon Alexa built in, and one of the coolest things, this one has the 360 view or the trail camera. So I can see all the way around the vehicle, up front, on the sides. That is a really cool feature that you can access pretty much any time in the screen here when you're stopped or when you're about maybe trying to figure out what's going on around you. Now there's tons of off-road stuff. So you can go through and turn this little knob from off-road, tow haul, terrain, there's a Baja mode, and then this is also where your four-wheel drive select would be. So a big difference to me over maybe the Tacoma or some of the Nissan Frontier is this has the auto four-wheel drive. So you can select 2 high, 4 low, or just click auto. I think that's only found in the Tacoma Limited for the new gen there, but that is a great feature that helps out when the inclement weather hits. Now I like the design and layout in here. These seats are super comfortable. There's a really cool design that runs through and some of that yellow stitching, and then these are also going to be heated for those Minnesota winters. Now we have to touch on the digital gauge cluster here. That's probably my favorite part of this whole truck. There's a little button on the steering wheel so you can go through set to kind of see which gauges you want to see, whether it's just your MPG or some of your trip computer stuff or some of your miles per hour, all your audio settings. But then if you keep clicking, it will actually pull up Google Maps. So that's right here in your line of sight. So you're not even messing with the infotainment screen. You're keeping your focus on the road ahead. Now, safety obviously is important in these vehicles. You can have things like emergency braking, blind spot monitoring. There's an adaptive cruise control that you can set a gap adjustment in here. There's a lot of really cool stuff, but all of that you can control easily in the infotainment screen. So now one of the biggest differences here on this ZR2 is you are going to have the locking differentials. So you can lock the front, the rear. So that is going to be a huge game changer if you are doing off-roading. And obviously there's a few other things in here that kind of help you with some of those off-road modes. But for the most part, if you're looking for a hardcore mid-size off-road truck, the ZR2 definitely can get you on the trail, and it's going to do it with comfort and style. But let's hop over, we'll check out that Canyon AT4. All right, so now in the AT4, obviously it's going to be very similar in the layout as they are pretty much the same design, but there's a little bit more kind of luxurious feel in here. I like this tan that runs through the interior. There's almost kind of like a carbon fiber weave, and then these seats get a really cool insert. It's got the AT4 and then some of the tan that runs through here as well. So it does feel the same, maybe just a little bit more upscale, which obviously makes sense from Chevrolet up to the GMC. Now our infotainment screen is going to be pretty much unchanged. You would go to the My GMC instead of the My Chevrolet, but you've still got the air down, Google Assistant, as well as the Amazon Alexa. This one doesn't have the 360 view camera though. It's just going to have your standard backup camera. One other thing in the infotainment, they both have the trailering. So both that we have here today do come with the brake controller down on the left side over here. So if you're towing anything, that is an excellent thing to already come equipped in the vehicle. Now these both have dual zone climate control. You are going to notice a little difference down here with the buttons just above where the USB charging is. You can lower all the windows at once, auto start stop, the lane departure warning, but this one doesn't get the locking rear or front differentials. Now our infotainment screen is going to be pretty much the same as far as the digital cluster is concerned here as well. You can go through the same menu with that button, show your maps, your trip computer, all that stuff. It's just going to be a little bit different of a screen. Now this one also gets the auto four-wheel drive and the drive select, but you would lose the Baja mode off of there. But the big difference, this one doesn't get the sunroof. Where you have the ZR2, that one did come with the sunroof. This particular one that we have here today wasn't equipped with the sunroof up above, but it's pretty cool. All right, so let's touch on the rear seats for a second. So that's pretty much gonna be the same. Obviously, the material that runs in the front of each of these trucks is gonna go into the back, and you're gonna have USB charging as well as a household outlet back there. So if you got the kids back there, someone needs to keep devices charged up, that's a pretty cool feature. And there's a little bit of a different way you can kind of fold those seats down if you need a little bit of extra storage back there. Overall, let's kind of touch on the differences. Obviously, the AT4X is going to be very similar to that ZR2. It's going to get you a lot more of the off-road equipment, but we just kind of wanted to show the differences between maybe what the AT4, AT4X, or the Z71 and the ZR2 would look like. So if you're more into that hardcore off-roading or going overlanding, I think the ZR2 is an awesome option, or looking at the AT4X. If you want to get the big wheels and tires, the sliders, the underbody protection, there's definitely a lot of good stuff there. So if you're looking at towing the boat, or you're just looking something day-to-day using that's got the automatic four-wheel drive, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, I mean, there's so much great equipment in here, I don't think there's really a wrong choice. So there's so much great equipment in both of these trucks, I don't think there's really a bad option. It really depends on the style, what package or equipment you're looking for, or which interior fits you better. So I think you gotta get out, take both of them for a spin, and see what you think. So that was just a quick look at the Colorado versus the Canyon. Now, if you have any other questions or you'd like to schedule a test drive for yourself, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by any one of our locations. We'd be happy to help you out. Thanks for watching.